afternoon, and konbanwa wherever you are in the world. This is Rita Kamishiro, and you are now listening to the comfiest corner of the internet, Archangel Radio, where you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the company of me, all of the amazing Archangels we have here today, and our wonderful guest! Woohoo! Yippee! And if you aren't aware of who our wonderful guest is today, Jun Akane is the elemental pirate of PRISM Project's 6th generation. On his channel lately, he's been playing Terraria, getting to hang out with lots of friends in a bunch of fun collabs, and playing FPS games like Valorant. In fact, for those who rated in, you probably already know about this. He just finished checking out the new premiere mode right before this episode, so hopefully we can hear more about that later. But with his endless energy and hype, Jun's amazing aim at FPS games and cheerful personality will reel you in. So he does play a lot of FPS games, but he also brings a sunny energy to other games and chatting streams as well. And super awesome, he just recently celebrated his 1-month anniversary. So if you want to get to know Jun, and you can hang out with him and the Jun mates over on his YouTube channel and Twitter. But without further ado, Jun, I'll go ahead and hand the reins off to you to introduce yourself some more. Go right ahead.
Let's go! Hello, everybody. My name is Jun Akane from PRISM Project Generation 6. I am what they call the himbo pirate of PRISM Project. I can be a little stupid sometimes, a little fun, and always chaotic, so that's fun.
You forgot the third part of that. I learned about the word himbo from a Tumblr post. And it said, it told me that it is 3 things. The experience is 3 things. You are kind, stupid, and
check.
And strong. Would you say you're strong as well?
I might be a twunk then.
Wait, you're gonna have to tell me about that later. I'm not. Oh, well, you're certainly strong at video games, so I'm sure that counts as well. But I'm so excited to have you here. For those who haven't gotten the chance to check out an Archangel Radio episode, essentially, I like to invite guests on, and we get to know them a lot better. So, Jun, thank you so much for agreeing to be here today on Archangel Radio to be interviewed, and I'm sure, you know, as well, you'll have a fun time being interviewed with your lovely bird friend Unagi. Do you want to introduce to everyone?
Yeah. So guys, this is Unagi. He's my little buddy. He's my favorite best friend in the whole wide world. Yeah, he's been with me since we were wee little lads. I found him in a cage and I liberated him, meaning I didn't steal. I liberated him from some bad merchants, not bad. Anyhow, they got freed, and now he's with me, adventuring around the world, trying to find all the friends we can.
And you're doing a fantastic job so far. You've been having, I was checking, you know, as a good senpai would, I was checking in on my kohai, checking out your channel, and it looks like you've been having lots of fun with a bunch of collabs. So super happy to hear that. And I want to know, for anyone out there who's tuning in and getting to know you today, just to kind of summarize what we're gonna learn today, who is Jun in a nutshell? What would you say is like a good summary for who you are, what you stand for, how you're feeling, things like that?
Jun is a very fun, energetic ball of light that just wants to be friends. Have you ever seen a golden retriever? Think of that.
Yeah. Oh my god.
A golden retriever running up to you, being like, "Hello, hello," but then simultaneously also happening to be a gamer and good at video games.
I think I'd be frightened if I started seeing a dog play video games, but don't imagine that. Don't think about that too hard. Well, I'm sure everyone's going to be able to see just how much of a ball of sunshine you are today. We have 2 really exciting topics today, and if anyone out there has any questions, you know, you're more than welcome to ask questions throughout the interview as well, but we'll be sure to save some time at the end of Archangel Radio as well for any lingering questions you all might have. But before we jump into the meat and potatoes for today, why don't you go ahead and give us some announcements, anything exciting happening on your channel that we should know about?
Yeah, actually. So I'm still trying to figure out the date. I'm still making my schedule for this next week. But we have officially gotten our monetization checkpoints done. So we're gonna be having that celebration coming up sometime this week. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna hang out, maybe play some scary games. I'm really I don't like scary games, but
Oh, no.
apparently other people do like watching me play scary games, so it makes it a little fun.
Be kind to Jude. Okay, I'm watching. I'm making sure. Oh my gosh. So that is so exciting. Don't forget to subscribe, everyone, so you can make sure you're there for a really awesome celebration. But congratulations! That's a huge milestone. Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh.
It's heard here first. I haven't announced it or anything.
Oh,
I haven't even
wait!
announced it.
Archangel Radio exclusive. I am honored, truly. Well, there you go. Now this episode's been blessed. So you all know today is going to be an extra special episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to be talking a lot about our two topics today, or I've kind of divided them into two topics, but we'll see if they fit in pretty well. But first topic is gaming and all things gaming and all things making. Oh, two ING topics today. We'll be learning about you, your favorite games, and your excitement for FPS coaching, as well as your expertise in the making category, I guess, CS and Redstone. So why don't you go ahead and give everyone a preview of why they should be excited and hyped for today?
Alrighty, I'll go ahead and start off in the put me in coach section. We can go ahead and hop in there.
Let's go ahead.
So, as far as my background goes, I have been a professional gamer for something years. It's been a long road, but I have done professional Valorant coaching since the game has come out,
Wow.
as well as semi-professional gaming with PUBG and a bunch of other like fighting games and stuff. So I'm very, very confident in my quality as a coach, as well as being able to teach others, because I like helping people, and so it works out. So yeah.
Oh my gosh! And I'm sure you're a fantastic coach with your positive energy. I would totally not be nervous to start, picking up a new skill, playing Valorant more, things like that. But before you kind of became a I guess professional FPS player and a coach even, how about your early days as an FPS gamer? Tell us about that.
So, June Mama and June Papa did not like video games very much.
Oh no! They wanted you to be a pirate. A true
They wanted me to
pirate.
be a pirate, a true pirate. So they tossed me out at sea and left me alone. Not actually, but yeah. So they did not like me playing video games. So while all my other friends were playing Call of Duty and Halo and stuff like that, I was investing my time into Nintendo and Minecraft for a very early time. And so leading up to that, I did a lot of this non-FPS gaming, but I had a lot of friends who were super invested into it. And so eventually when I turned 13 years old, a wee little lad, they said, you know what, you could play your first FPS game. And that's when the addiction started. The slow spiral and descent into madness began when I was 13 years old. Yeah, it's actually also when I first started beginning my content creation journey.
Wow.
I started making YouTube videos and that sort of thing all the way back then. You're not going to find them. All the way back when I was a wee little lad.
Wow.
And yeah, I played a lot of CSGO, a lot of Halo, all sorts of things leading up to it. So yeah, very fun.
I'm just so curious. What were your parents' reactions to see you slowly evolve? Evolve is the word we're gonna use.
Yes.
Into an FPS gamer. What was that like?
So my parents actually restricted myself from using any electronic device to 30 minutes a day.
Oh,
So
wow.
with that limitation, that didn't really give you a lot of time to do much, especially when you were playing online games. So it was 30 minutes a day. And then eventually, as they saw me playing more and more, being really adamant about it, it became an hour a day.
Wow.
And then 2 hours a day. And eventually it was just okay, you know what, you do your own thing. And they were very meh about it. They didn't like it too much. And then once I started making money doing it, they were like, oh yeah, keep going.
That's how it always is, right? They're a little nervous. Oh my gosh. So I'm glad that eventually they came around. I'm happy to hear that. Gosh. So how about your friends? What did they think about? Because you said you had a lot of friends who played video games too. Did you end up playing FPS games with your friends?
So a lot of them stayed on the casual side, and I've made a lot more friends as I continue to play and get more competitive at it. But yeah, definitely at the start, I played with a lot of my childhood friends growing up, and then eventually they stopped playing games and I continued. And so the paths sort of split off from interests.
Right.
But you know, I was more FPS. They were more like, oh, we want to continue playing Pokemon and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Which I mean, totally realistic. I understand it completely. But I was more interested in the pew pews. So.
Right. And you mentioned you've met a lot of friends. You've made a lot of friends through your, becoming an FPS gamer. And I've heard a lot about from other friends who also play a lot of FPS games that, they find people, they get to know people. What is that like, making friends in, like, I guess the FPS community? How do you make friends with people? Do you, like, join a game? Do you join, like, a Discord server? How does that work?
So usually when it comes to FPS games, a lot of the key component to most of the games you play is communication. It's a lot of talking.
Ah, okay.
And so while you're playing these games and talking with other people, you can usually really easily pick out the bad eggs from the good eggs, as well as the ones that are just, I don't know, bland tasting.
The normal eggs.
The normal eggs, exactly. And so when you find those good eggs, I mean, if you're able to, you usually can just, I mean, with how Steam works, with how I mean, Riot Games works, most of these like big online games have friend systems in them.
Yeah.
And so you can usually just be like, hey, do you want to keep playing more? And then you just keep going on and on. So.
Do you have any like funny or outstanding stories about meeting people on in like FPS games?
Oh man, I don't know. Let me think about FPS games.
Sure,
as far as
and it doesn't
meeting
have
people.
to be like crazy. It could be good. It could be bad if you want to share one of those kinds of stories. But
Yeah, I mean, oh my goodness, this is a dark secret.
oh
How about
no,
that?
oh gosh.
When you make friends in the FPS scene, you can also make not enemies, but like
Okay, oh my God.
negative looking people, I guess.
Negative friends that are enemies? Okay, everyone, what is a
So-
negative friend that is not an enemy?
A negative friend. So basically, somebody who you are friends with,
Okay.
past being acquainted, but you just would not recommend other people to play with.
I do not have vocabulary for that. That is so fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, let's just say. So I was friends with this guy.
Someone said
And,
frenemies.
frenemy. Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say frenemies. It was more so like I was friends with him.
Okay.
And then I started, doing FPS coaching, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is fun.
Sure.
And they also wanted to get into the FPS coaching as well.
Okay.
And so I had already gotten in, and they're like, could you give me like a recommendation and stuff? I was like,
Sure.
sure, yeah, absolutely. And then when it came around to it, I got interviewed by my boss, and they're like, hey,
Wow.
like, what do you think of this guy? And I was like, Ira, please. Please, he won't do a good job.
Oh wow. Okay, so
I'm
keep going then.
sorry.
Keep going.
Yeah. So yeah. So
Wow.
after that, I mean, he never found out. He's just like, man, I didn't get the job. I'm like, dang, that really sucks that you didn't get the job.
No! But you couldn't in good conscience, right? You couldn't in good conscience recommend.
It was more so
sure.
like, yeah, I wasn't making it so like he wouldn't get the job. It was more so he was not fit for the position,
and you were
and
being
I felt.
honest.
Yeah, I was being honest. I don't want other people to have to go through that sort of experience
Right.
with them, because it can be a situation where they might be a nice friend,
Yeah.
but they have zero patience when it comes to teaching others. And when it comes to
Sure.
coaching, like
Right.
patience is really key. You have to have patience.
I see, like a nice friend, but a bad teammate. Is that what you mean?
I wouldn't even say a bad teammate. I would just say a bad teacher. And when
Okay,
you're doing
I
a
always-
coaching position,
Right.
it doesn't take the best player to be a good teacher, but it also, vice versa. The best player can also be a
Sure.
terrible teacher.
Exactly. I see. Wow. I'm excited to learn more about what that means, right? Like, what's the difference between a good coach and a bad coach? But speaking of coaching others, at what point, from your early FPS days to where you are kind of now, at what point did you consider, like, hey, coaching is something that I'm interested in and I'm good at and I want to do?
I don't think it was so much coaching as much as it was like tutoring and teaching others. So one of my first jobs I ever had, I actually worked as an audiovisual engineer. And so in that position, I was the head technician of the position I was in. And so I had to train others how to use the equipment and how to make sure that, they were properly setting up microphones and lighting equipment and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so doing something like that takes a lot of patience, especially when you're working with very expensive equipment.
Right.
And so that's why I really got the inspiration. I was like, I think I can teach others how to do things.
Yeah.
And then it went on to like, tutoring people like at,
Wow.
mathematics or coding or anything like
Yeah.
that. And then moving over to FPS games. And I was like, well, I'm pretty good at these games. I wonder if I could teach others how to, improve their skills as well. So
So it kind of just all fell naturally, right? A
exactly.
natural teacher, natural leader. That makes sense. And then you kind of just found yourself in like, hey, I already teach and I already guide people in games like this. So why not, take it seriously? That makes sense.
Yeah.
So now I really want to get into the meat and potatoes of what it means to coach someone. How do you go about coaching someone in an FPS game?
So I think for most people, obviously evaluating the skill level of the player that you're working with is very, very important.
Oh.
That can be easily done usually through rank systems in games.
Okay.
They're like games like Valorant or Apex where people say, oh, I'm plat, or oh, I'm
Right.
iron. And those ranks relate to the skillfulness in that game. Usually when people have a low rank, you can immediately be like, okay, so they're at this point for a reason. Let's go ahead and take a look and say, why they're stuck and what of the basics they can improve on to get better.
Whoa. Okay.
Because usually when people are in the lower ranks, it's not because they necessarily don't know what they're doing. It's more so that maybe some of their basic skill mechanics
Wow.
may not be as, I guess, good as they potentially could.
Sure. Ah.
So, it can be anything from aiming to movement to like utility usage, things like that, making sure,
Okay.
all
So
those different things.
let's say you get like a new student. What is the first thing you do? Like, do you like interview them? Like, do you watch them play a game? How does this process look like onboarding a new student, I guess?
So the first process that I like to look at is I basically say, okay, from your experience, what you've played so far,
Right.
and your position in the game,
Right.
how do you feel as a player, and what are the positions that you feel you're worst at, and the points that you feel you're best at? And so
Okay.
I get to basically pick apart their brain, and they tell me what they want to improve on, what they think they're good at, what they
Yeah.
think they're bad at. And then I look at those points and I basically, map out a picture of what I want to do to help these people.
Wow. Like a
And
curriculum.
so, yeah, exactly, like a curriculum. So the start is just making that curriculum for that person.
Oh, wow.
And obviously that's only on paper. We haven't even seen how they play in game yet.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So as it progresses, making sure that you notice and take note of how people actually react in game, because they can say that this is my strong point when it's actually their weak point compared to something else.
Sure.
So being adaptive as you move on and as you move forward with people is definitely an important piece, because they might be really confident in their one skill that ends up being their weakest point when they have other really,
Ah.
really good highlighted points that they could also carry on with.
Okay, so you have this, I guess I don't know how to call it, onboarding meeting, and then in the day-to-day of coaching a student, what does that look like? Like, do you have like weekly classes or like daily classes? Do they have homework, projects? How does that work?
Yeah, so when I was doing it very rigorously, I guess you could say for coaching,
Yeah.
I had a class of 5 students. And each student, basically, we would go over set curriculum for their teams based on the average rank. So usually with the job I was working, we would rank up players together in a pool, and we would basically say, okay, these players are all about the average of plat, or these players are all about the average on diamond.
Okay.
And with those players, we would work together with them as a team to try to teach them better communication skills, better people working skills.
Wow.
Because we're trying to teach not only just game mechanics, but also, try to invoke better social networking skills and that
Sure.
sort of thing.
Wow.
So making sure that we, encourage that sort of behavior is good.
Okay.
And then alongside of that, we also look at the individual and say, okay, what can this person improve on? And so we'll say, okay,
Yeah.
for your homework today, I want you to go and record yourself doing this, right? And
Okay.
they'll go and record it and bring it back to me, and I'll say, okay, great, this looks good, or you can do this to improve, that sort of thing.
Wow. That sounds like the most fun homework I've ever heard of.
I've been told it can be rather entertaining.
Oh my gosh. But I like kind of how you guys have this like group class sort of structure. I feel like not only do you get to learn, practical skills, like technical skills, but I like how, soft skills are just as important, like learning how to communicate both in game and out of game. Like I didn't even think about that. That like, being a good team doesn't mean you get along in the game, but that it also means that you get along outside of the game.
Absolutely.
That is so cool. Now, kind of speaking generally some more, we've learned a little bit about your coaching style. For those, I guess, who play games like Valorant and such, what are some general tips that you have? Things that you see a lot when you first start coaching people. What is the most common thing that you tell people?
Okay.
Go ahead.
The most common thing that I tell people, is probably, I think it really depends on the grouping. From people that are like, let's say plat rank below, the biggest thing I like to focus on is just identifying how people work around with their aim, right?
God, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I'm a personal believer that in a game like Valorant, where it's a tactical FPS, you can get up to probably around Diamond with just raw aim mechanics alone. If you can point and click a mouse and be accurate and precise with it, that's a really, really big part.
Sure.
But I think the more important part when it comes to a game with Valorant is probably movement. A lot of people know how to, move their mouse and stuff.
Sure.
But in a game like Valorant, or even I guess Apex, I mean, Apex is a much more movement-based game.
Yeah.
You have to really make sure that you plant your feet down when you take shots. Otherwise, your accuracy may be off depending on the weapon you're using, and all sorts of things. So making sure that you really identify if your movement is good is a big piece. And sometimes I even start there before I even go to aim. There's a lot of different ways in Valorant specifically that movement is a big part of the game. For one, just like a game similar to it called Counter-Strike, there's a tech called counter-strafing. The idea behind this is when you basically you are trying to press two keys opposite of each other to cancel out movement.
Okay.
To put it in like simplest term. So in games like CSGO or in Valorant, the more still you are, the more accurate you are. And so counter-strafing basically tells the game that you are still right out of a movement. So if you're moving forward, if you're moving forward, you can hit the opposite key and it'll instantly stop your movement.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And in doing so, it makes you 100% accurate. And that's really important in games where the first shot really counts, right? If you hit that headshot, they die. And you can run away with the round potentially off of that.
Oh my gosh. Write that down, everybody. That's very important. I feel like I'm not, because you mentioned like, you can, with at least good aim, you can get up to, you said Diamond, right? With just perfecting, I guess, the aim mechanic. But movement, I feel like as someone who's only played Valorant once, I don't know if I'm like quite there yet. What about a general tip for like a beginner like me who's only played Valorant once?
So for an absolute beginner, I think focusing less on movement and more on aim is definitely a big point. This is the movement part is important because the game mechanics itself really punish people for shooting and running. But I think really understanding how your hand works with your mouse is a good spot to look at. It's almost like playing an instrument.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So if you think of your mouse like an instrument,
wait, this is so good.
And your wrist as like a secondary part, you really have to figure out how, let's say, you're able to move your mouse with your hand to move the pointer on the screen, right? So if you're able to really master that, it can make it a lot easier for you when going into any game and in general, whether that is, a FPS game or not. I mean, games like Minecraft, you really rely on, pointing and clicking to build blocks and stuff. If you accidentally misclick or something like that, it could be devastating depending on what you do.
Right.
And so, what I like to prescribe, I guess you could say, to people, I tell them, I say, hey, there's this really cool application. It's free on Steam. This is not an ad or anything like this.
Sure.
but it's basically a program called Aim Labs, and the whole idea behind the program is just practicing your aim and training your aim. It's free. You don't need an account to use it. It's really cool. And the best part about it is it has a lot of different tutorials as to how to move your mouse, how to like the best part of clicking, your reactiveness to different things, because you might be good at actually using your mouse, but your reactivity might be down, right? Or something like that.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's really cool. It helps a lot, especially I think that using an aim trainer like that helps at any level, whether you're at the highest point you can go or the lowest point. But I especially think so when it comes to the lowest point.
Yeah.
The reason behind this is so mice are very complicated. There's a lot that goes into it. So when you have a game like Valorant, you have an in-game sensitivity.
Oh my gosh.
And that in-game sensitivity is the amount of space that you moving your mouse will move in the game. But depending on your mouse's hardware or software, depending, it also can change how fast your mouse moves depending on the surface it's on, all sorts of things. So when you have a mouse, there's something called DPI, which is dots per inch.
Sorry, I'm very. This is very exciting. Keep going.
Yeah. So basically, what dots per inch means is that whenever you move your mouse, depending on the type of mouse you have, there's laser mouse, as well as if you're really old-fashioned, you can have like a ball mouse or something like that.
I'm looking at my mouse right now. That's crazy.
Thing on the bottom. But usually what happens is the dots per inch is whenever you move your mouse, it is the amount of images that the sensor takes whenever you move your mouse. So the higher the number, the more space that your mouse will cross the screen when you move it.
But then that's different from the in-game sensitivity.
Yes, that's different from the in-game sensitivity. And that's where we have a term called eDPI.
Okay.
And so eDPI is when you multiply your in-game sensitivity by your DPI, and it gives you a number, so that way you can compare to others who are using different DPI versus in-game sensitivity.
Wait, whoa, that's crazy, because I can imagine just how like precise people care about that, right? Because that could make or break a game, right? Now, then are people very particular about like their setup? Like if they have to like play with a new mouse or a new keyboard, like is that game over, or like do they just need to adjust like all of the settings?
So usually it's just about adjusting settings and stuff.
Okay.
But the biggest thing when it comes to getting your sensitivity in DPI, it really all depends on the amount of space that you use.
Okay.
And your style of aiming the mouse. So there's two different types of styles that people usually use when it comes to aiming a mouse.
Okay.
There's one called wrist style, where you use the wrist of your hand to move your hand around.
It's like
and
a
control where your mouse
jutsu.
goes.
Wrist style.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Wrist
like fire
style.
style jutsu. That's so funny. Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yep. And then for arm style, it's where people use their full arm to move the mouse, basically.
What are you? What style are you?
Well, most people use both for the most part, but it really depends on your space. So if you have a very, very small, limited space to work with, for example, let's say you have one of those small mouse pads with like the little padding for your wrists and stuff.
Right.
Usually those are very, very tiny, and you can only like fit the mouse on it with your hand. There's no real space around it.
Right.
For something like that, you're going to be using more wrist than you are arm, because there's no way that you can move your arm to move the mouse around.
Okay.
Usually with people who play on a small wrist pad like that, you're going to have a higher DPI and potentially a higher sensitivity as well, because every small movement you make is going to really count when it comes to the game.
Okay.
Meanwhile, if you have a lot of space, like I do, I don't even, how big is my phone? I'm actually going to look this up.
Yeah, go for it. I'm learning so much. This is actually crazy. You're a great teacher. Like earlier when you were like, think about it as if you were playing an instrument. And that totally changed my mindset. I could already imagine like as a teacher, like finding ways to make it easier to understand for like your students, I guess. So
For sure.
that's crazy. I'd never heard of like wrist style, arm style. Oh my gosh. So tell me about arm style.
Yeah, so basically when you have a larger surface area, so for example, the mouse space I've got about a foot across and a foot up and down to move. So like X and Y have like a foot in both directions. And that's a like really generous space.
Wow.
So I use a lower sensitivity as well as a lower DPI.
Okay.
Which means that I have to move my arm around a lot more than somebody using their wrist, but I get the same amount of effectivity out of it as well as comfort because it's something I'm more used to.
Right, and wow, that's so cool that it's kind of just like adjusted to everyone's preferences.
Exactly.
That is so neat. Now I'm gonna be like hyper aware of that when because when you were like, oh yeah, when you said DPI. So my mouse was given to me by my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law was visiting and he was like, is that the mouse you use? And I was like, yes. And he's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. My sister's not going to be using that. And I was like, I'm sorry. And so he gave me a new mouse and he's like, yeah, the middle button changes the DPI. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pretend I know what that means. And like I've had people tell me like what it is, like dots per inch. But the way that you were talking about how like the difference between in-game sensitivity and like the DPI and then the eDPI and then the wrist style, the arm style, that's crazy. Now I feel like I know a lot more about the mouse that I have. That is so cool. Gosh, I'm curious now that I've got a taste of your coaching style, I guess. What are your goals as someone who is into FPS coaching? Do you have any goals moving forward?
So as far as goals moving forward, and this is something that I've tried to keep up with for a while.
Sure.
I have yet to implement it here within PRISM yet, mainly because scheduling is a pain in the butt.
Sure.
But my goal as a coach is I want to make it an affordable and easily accessible tool that people can use anywhere on the go. Coaching, when you get it from a professional, can be very expensive, especially when people really make the quality of their service look appealing enough to pay more for.
Sure.
So my goal is to make it so that way people can get coaching for free. Yeah, free.
Cool. And how are you gonna go about doing that?
So one of the things that I've been doing as a planned series is I'm hoping to do free coaching sessions with other VTubers of the community.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so basically give a example of what people can do and like look at for their own gameplay, while also taking in questions from let's say the chat. So while we're coaching this person and they're like, oh, I'm practicing this subject, does anybody have a question or like an idea that they want to know about from this subject? And basically just take questions and as I help this one individual person.
That is so
that way I can try to knock out two birds with one stone. I can help people that are spectating as well as helping the person individually with their own problems. Because, like I said, coaching is very unique and individual as everybody has their own problems and their own places that they need to improve.
Oh my gosh! I could totally see you like making clips of like your I would call them classes. I could totally see you like taking like maybe like a key point in that you talk about one of your classes and then like making it into a TikTok or like a YouTube short and like people watching it like, oh my gosh, that's a cool tip. I'll share it with my friends. That is so cool. I love the idea of making knowledge a lot more accessible to folks. So
yeah.
I'm super excited. I can already see it now. Like, Jun Akane, like, best VTuber FPS coach.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's my goal. I think the one thing that's been holding me back is just the time. Being able to find time to work with other people as well as to make sure that I can edit all the videos that I want. I have to put ideas down. Another thing I've been doing right now recently just to make sure that they do well when I post them is I've been trying to do research into like video editing as far as how people like different aspects of a edit compared to others, and what really grabs attention.
If you want any tips, I'd love to share.
Absolutely.
And then in return,
Like,
you could teach me how to be better at FPS games because I'm terrible.
there you go. That worked for me. Yeah, like I don't know, because one of the things, the shorts algorithm really is beneficial to those who understand how it works, but also to those who have grabbing editing.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to figure out, because I'm like, what should I just like release a coaching video with like Subway Surfers on the bottom, or
You catch my attention, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, someone in chat put it best. You really have been on a roll ever since you debuted, and I'm so excited to see where not just your FPS coaching journey goes, but your journey in general. Oh my gosh, that's so
Thank you.
exciting. But I guess I'll kind of move on from and I don't want to spoil all the fun about your journey with FPS games. You're just gonna have to go subscribe to June if you really want to learn more about that. But I know you're a huge fan of other kinds of games, and one of the games that you mentioned to me was fighting games. So why don't you let us know, why do you like fighting games so much?
So I think one of the things for fighting games is I have a very competitive spirit. So even if I'm bad at something, if I have the drive, I will just burn hours and hours into it trying to be better at it.
Wow.
So fighting games is one of those things.
Okay.
There's a lot of games out there that are incredibly hard. You look at the difference between I don't know if you've heard of these games before, but look at the difference between Tekken 7 to Dragon Ball Z or Fighter Z to like Guilty Gear Strive. Each of these fighting games have their own different mechanics and way that they're played, while also having the basic input mechanics.
Sure.
So for example, almost every fighting game will have like, okay, quarter circle forward with an input will do a special attack. Quarter circle backward, same thing.
Sure.
If you do certain ones in a different direction, it'll also do another special attack. But each game has its own different way of implementing that, as well as the style of game. So if you look at a game like Fighter Z, which I mentioned earlier, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, that game is what is called a support style fighting game.
Support style. Okay, what is that?
Yeah, so basically the idea is that you go in with support style is just the general idea that you do not just play as one character, you play as multiple characters.
Wow.
Yeah, or tag fighter. Yeah, that's another good term, Envy.
Okay.
So basically you can choose to tag in or out characters depending on the different style that you want to go in with, as well as how it might counter the other person.
Whoa.
Yeah. So each different support style has its own benefits and I guess debuffs as well, depending on how you use them. And there's also, really cool videos on meta and stuff like that.
Sure. So then what's the one that's not support style, where you're just one character?
Yeah, so that's just like a solo fighter. So I don't actually know the terminology for it. I think it's just a normal fighting game. But the difference between that is also between those is the fact that you can have fighters that are 2D or 3D. Okay. And depending on that can change the whole direction of the game. So for example, a game like Tekken 7 is what's known as a 3D fighter, where you have the availability to move 360 degrees, well, 180 degrees, I guess.
Sure.
around the map.
You can move in a 3D space.
Yeah, exactly. You can move in a 3D space versus a 2D plane. And when you're doing something like that, the inputs get a lot more complicated, because not only do you have to remember the direction of which your character is facing, but you also have to take into consideration the environment around you. Because there are definitely things like crazy techs in Tekken. Tekken has things like wall breaking, that where if you push somebody against the wall enough, they'll break and fall into another side. And then from that transition, you can continue the combo. There are things where there are certain maps where you can like break the ground, and then you have to fall and catch. It's just complicated. Tekken's the hardest game.
Really?
I'm so bad at it.
Now, okay, you mentioned you like fighting games, and you've been talking a lot about this terminology and stuff. I guess on your day-to-day, when you're playing fighting games with other people, how deep into the meta do you go? Like, do you look at like hitboxes and like iframes, or do you kind of just like remember combos and like What do you think?
So personally, it really all depends on who I'm playing against.
You're not gonna go to like the family gathering and be like, they don't know anything about iframe, but I do.
That's like when I play Smash Brothers, I choose to avoid certain characters so that way people don't get bodied out the door.
You're just like I'm only at 5% of my power.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to pull out Luigi and combo them to death when we're all supposed to have fun. But if I have somebody who's like tryharding against me, I'll be like, okay,
I gotta pull up my sleeves. Exactly. Oh my god.
But as far as it really just depends on the game. I don't know. And also the character that I play. So like, for example, like Smash Brothers, as a kid, I was really into it. So I learned all the different like frame data and stuff, which I have very, very much forgotten since then. But I was very into it. And you know, making sure that I knew all the combos. I've got, by the way, for those of you in chat, I've got that Luigi Touch of Death muscle memorized.
What is
I can do that thing blindfolded.
Wait, pause. What is Luigi Touch of Death?
Okay, so fighting games have a really, really fun thing, where basically there is a combo in fighting games called Touches of Death or Touch of Death, where basically if you get hit by one move, you will just simply die at the end of the combo. There's no escape.
What?
Yeah,
and this exists with any character, so there's like a Kirby Touch of Death?
It's not for any character.
Okay.
It's very specific cases.
I was sweating. Oh my gosh. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Some games have Touch of Deaths, other games do not. So for example, a game like Street Fighter 6 does not have a Touch of Death.
Okay.
There are people who've been trying to find them. It's just impossible.
Okay.
You can do like 90% of their HP bar or like 80%, but you'll never actually get the full HP all the way down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Meanwhile, you have a game like Dragon Ball FighterZ, where it's a support style fighter, and because you have more than one character to work with, they basically punish you severely if you make a slip up. So that game has combos where if you get hit, you can be trapped in a combo for 140 something hits and just die. I like to call that game the get touched and put the controller down game.
No!
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's crazy. I don't know. It's very fun.
Wait, that's so cool. Is there an anime about like people playing fighting games? Because that's crazy.
I don't know if there's a specific
There
anime
needs to be
about
something
it.
like that.
I definitely know that there's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying when you said like Touch of Death, I had one of those like anime like multi shot like reaction like moments where I was like, what is that? That's crazy. Oh my God.
I definitely know that there have been like Netflix series that have done stuff with fighting games, but I don't know about like specifically just fighting games.
Now
I know that. Oh, go ahead.
Are there anything else like similar to Touch of Doom? Like is there like a Touch of Doom, like a Jump of Doom, or like a Crouch of Fear? Like is there anything else other than Touch of Death?
Well, within fighting games, most of the moves that you have all have their special own special names.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you get really invested into it, you can play it out like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you start inputting stuff and you're just like, and now King uses his barrel roll or something like that. Like there's so many different things.
Wow.
But the idea of a Touch of Death is that it's just a combo that will kill no matter what. It's like a terminology that's been made by the community.
You seem to know a lot about like the terminology and like a lot of like really like nuanced like fighting strategy. Are you any good at like commentating fighting games?
I don't know about commentating fighting games. I've definitely done it in the past.
Okay.
So that's another side job that I had aside from Valorant hosting. I also did a bunch of different game casting as well.
Wow.
I casted Valorant games, I casted League of Legends games, all sorts of things. So that was one of the things that I really enjoyed. And so being able to keep up with the action that's going on while also being able to understand the moves that are being done. The more knowledge you have on the topic you're talking about, the more entertaining the commentary gets, right?
Right.
If you're just sitting there like, he's punching him, that's not as entertaining as like.
We can see that.
Yeah, it's like we can see that. It's like that's not as entertaining as somebody starting off and be like, man, he got hit by the medium, and that is going to lead straight into the touch of death. Continuing off of this, he's got to do his quarter circle backwards from 2-1-4 with a heavy to continue the combo. Like all these, you have to, if you know the notion and everything, and you just keep going with it, you get really, really entertaining with it. And that also goes for Valorant and stuff. Like I try to memorize the Valorant ability names just so that way it makes it easier for me to be like, oh, this is what's happening when things are going on in a game. So
and I love it when like commentators, like whenever there's like a lull in the fighting, like not, of course there's commentating happening like during the fight, but kind of like in between rounds and things like that, they'll kind of talk about like what kind of like fighter somebody is, like, oh, they tend to do more of these kind of combos, or like, this is the history of this person and kind of like why they're doing what they're doing today. That is so fun. And somebody in chat said it, but I would love to see you like commentate for maybe like a PRISM tournament or even just like a
that'd be fun.
In general. That would be super awesome.
Yeah, I would love to do that. That'd be a lot of fun. I think that something like that would be very entertaining. I've done commentary for a couple of YouTuber events in the past, but yeah, I think that it'd be very fun.
Oh my gosh. And you've thrown out a lot of names for these different fighting games, but I want to know, kind of to wrap up this section before we talk about another really awesome game or game series, what are some of your favorite fighting games?
Favorite fighting games? I think my favorite of all time, because people that you don't have to be good to enjoy it. It's technically not considered a fighting game. Smash Brothers is considered a party game. But I really enjoy Smash. I feel like anybody can pick up a controller and have fun with it.
That's true.
You don't have to like sweat with it. You can have all the items on. You can have the random maps. Like it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And it's also one of those games where it's not super technical.
Sure.
So like sure there is a lot of technicality. If you don't care about winning,
which I don't really care too much about. So to me it's a party game. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's one of those games that anybody can enjoy. As well as being really easy to just pick up. People know, oh, you see Smash, you pick it up, whichever direction you move the joystick. If you have it on the default controls, it moves that way. Like it's perfect. You know the different buttons do whatever. Sure. Like it's very simplistic and fun to do.
Wow. I don't know if this counts as a fighting game because I don't really enjoy fighting. It's just not my cup of tea. But would like the Naruto Ultimate Ninja, like would that count as a fighting game? Is that
yes, okay? That would count as a fighting game.
That is my favorite fight, and I haven't played it in years. But that is my favorite fighting game. It was the only one I could actually like do well.
That is so funny. That is awesome. Oh my gosh.
I hope I've made you proud.
No,
my
absolutely.
fighting game sensei.
I actually not too long ago I sat down with a couple friends of mine. And we sat around our GameCube and just played a bunch of the old like Naruto fighting games. And oh my god, like playing the inputs for those games are so like non-traditional, so trying to figure out how the controls work was terrible. And then on top of that, there were some characters that were just like, okay, you play this character, you will win. You play this character, there's absolutely no chance you win.
I remember like I played through the campaign of one of the Ultimate Ninja ones, and I was like, I'm always gonna play this character because I can never lose.
yeah. There's like we literally would because my friends get really into it, especially with like the niche games.
Sure.
So we'd be all sitting there, and somebody would play Sasuke, and they'd be like, bro, he just doesn't die. He just doesn't die. Like different things like that. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, that is so. What you're saying is, if we ever get to off collab, we're gonna play Naruto Ultimate Ninja. Is what you're saying?
Absolutely. I think. Hold on, let me see if I can find the. Okay, so the game that we were playing, it was called Naruto Clash of Ninja.
I'm trying to remember which one I played. Because I think I played. I think.
So bad.
Did they have like a handheld one, like for like the DS? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
Ultimate Ninja. Because I played two, I think. The one I played more was on the handheld, and then the other one I think was on a PlayStation. Naruto Ultimate Ninja. I have to search it up now. But you said Ultimate Ninja. It was Clash of
Clash of Fighting was the one. It was the one that I played, or Clash of Ninja.
Clash of Ninja.
It's so terrible. It's so
Really?
bad.
Oh my gosh.
The controls in the game are just horrible.
Oh my gosh.
And not only that, but like they're like things where if people do a certain input, you just can't block it. You can't dodge. Like the control is so terrible. Kakashi was crazy in that game. Oh my god. Yeah, no. Oh my.
I'm trying to like remember which one it was, but I definitely played like a handheld one, and it was 3D too. I don't know if that helps. There was like a 3D. It was If anyone knows, please let me know. I really cannot remember. But it was one of the. Please, I have to know. But we'll table that. We'll bookmark that as a potential off collab game.
That sounds fun.
Another, I guess, sort of game that we could possibly add to the list of off collab ones. So this game isn't traditionally a multiplayer game, or this game series doesn't traditionally have multiplayer, but it has a couple here and there. But you mentioned, and I've kind of known already, that you are a huge fan of the Zelda series. So I'm going to move away from fighting games for now, but I want to know more about your history with the Zelda series. I popped into your Breath of the Wild stream, and you talked a little bit about it when you kind of were starting off your Breath of the Wild playthrough for the first time. But tell us about your history with the Zelda series, why you love it so much, how you found it, things like that.
Awesome. Okay, so starting out when I was a wee little lad, like I said, I was not allowed to play violent games for the most part. And so when my Junpapa, who happened to be an avid gamer, was going out and looking at consoles, he actually happened to buy a GameCube that came with the I believe, I don't know if it was the 25th anniversary of Legend of Zelda. Zelda game.
While you're searching that up, what's crazy to me is that you said Junpapa was a gamer, right?
Yes.
And they limited your gaming time. Maybe he knew what it's like to be a gamer, and they're like, we need to limit his time.
Jun Mama was the one doing limited.
Jun Mama was like, I guess it's fine.
Jun Mama was like, Junpapa did not want to make Jun Mama mad, so he let everything go. He was like, no, that's okay, that's fine.
God.
Okay, so I don't know the actual like reason behind it, but it was the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition promotional disc.
Okay.
And had it says quote unquote 4 games. It had more than 4 games. But it had 4 Legend of Zelda games in it. And the games that they had in it, had the Legend of Zelda, I believe, 4 Swords. It had the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. This is when Wind Waker was not released yet, so it was a demo version of Wind Waker.
Wow.
And then it also had Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Wow.
As well as, I think it had more. It definitely had a bunch of games in it.
At least those 4 though.
Yeah, at least those 4.
That was the beginning.
Very fun. That was the beginning. Yeah, that's what started it all. So I started playing. I was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. And so yeah, I beat Ocarina of Time. I played as far as I could get in the demo of Wind Waker, and eventually bought Wind Waker. I played A Link to the Past. 4 Swords. I finished. I don't think I did it on that specific version. I completed it when they ported it over to the 3DS.
Gotcha.
So there's that one. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed the series. I really enjoyed the story, the visual aspect of playing it.
I remember when you were streaming, we kind of had a bonding moment over. We were talking about Zelink. I think it was we were talking about on your stream. Gosh, they're just the characters, the story, like the world. Even there's so much to love.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
much to love.
And like with every game, it's like the story follows like the same trope similarly, but like the story completely changes if you look at it from like the outside perspective. Like aside from that trope, if you look at Twilight Princess was so different from every other Legend of Zelda game up to that point. You played that like, who's Midna? What is the Twilight Dimension? What is all this? Like,
it's so dark. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
do you have a favorite?
So it's funny enough, I never actually beat Majora's Mask, but
you're so real for that.
hours. I put so many hours into that game. The universe behind it, everything about the game is so interesting, and I just love the way that it follows Ocarina of Time, not only like story wise but time wise. It's so good. I would definitely have to say Majora's Mask for sure.
Oh my gosh. For me, the reason why it's not my favorite is because it's so stressful. I get so stressed out. I can't do timed things. So I'm glad you enjoy and appreciate, and that makes me happy. Gosh, I don't know how you do it with the time stress.
Yeah, I think for me is that, like I said, I was only limited to 30 minutes at a time. So the time stretch, like
easy. You were used to it.
Like I had a time stretch. It didn't apply to Majora's Mask. It applied to everything I did.
You were trained already. I was trained.
Funny. So I would get into the game. I do remember one time though that really made me mad. So I had just beaten the second temple of Majora's Mask. For those of you who don't know, it goes the Earth temple with the Deku Scrubs, and then it goes into the Ice temple, and with the Gorons, which is very, very unique for Gorons. They don't live in ice. And then after that, it goes to the Zoro domain, and then I forget the last one. But basically, I beat the Goron temple, the one that was ice, all of that. I had just beat it. I was like, oh, let's go. I was so happy that I was able to do this. I'm like, okay, I save, whatever. I leave it. I leave the game. I come back 2 days later. I'm like, I'm gonna restart my gameplay.
Yeah.
I sit there, and in Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, there's a really fun thing that you can do where you can reverse time if you play the Song of Time backwards. So I played the Song of Time backwards, and it put me before the Snow Point Temple and got rid of all my progress. I was baffled. I was like, how does that work?
Oh, no.
the entire temple? No way.
Oh my god.
So I did it again, and then at that point I got stuck because Majora's Mask, like you said, is a time-based game.
Right.
And so there are certain events that only happen within time. One of them is a mini game in which you get Epona, and that is the only way, as far as I know, to get into the Zoro domain. I did not have access to the internet at that time, nor a manual on the game as far as like a playthrough. So trying to figure out that I had to stay at Epona's ranch until like midnight on a specific day, I just never figured it out. I didn't know. I never played a minigame, so I never progressed the game.
I always think about that. I always wonder, like, was I bad at video games when I was younger because, like, I lacked fine motor skills and my brain wasn't fully developed yet? Or is it because I didn't have access to, like, walkthroughs on the internet and guides? I always think about that. Oh my gosh. That's so great. I'm glad it became your favorite, despite all that, the wackadoo stuff. But do you have like a favorite character in the Zelda series?
Oh, man, favorite character in the Zelda series.
It can be recurring or like not recurring.
I have to think about that one. There's so many good characters.
That's so.
I really liked Midna from Twilight Princess. I feel like, as a Zelda fan, she was so unique, and just a character like her has not been repeated in the series, I don't think. So I think she was really cool. I really enjoyed her. Definitely a childhood crush. I was like, Midna, oh my god, that's crazy. So oh my god. Yeah. I really enjoyed that game. So.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And if you all enjoy Zelda, you're still continuing your Breath of the Wild playthrough, because last I checked, you are currently at, a little spoilerino here, you're currently at Hyrule Castle and you're on your way to defeat Ganon, right, in Breath of the Wild, is that correct?
Yes. But to preface, I have not done any other part of the game.
Oh, so you're the kind of person who's going straight to Hyrule Castle with a stick and a pot lid.
I wanted to see what I could do. So I've managed to beat the Trial of Strength.
Okay.
That's in the Hyrule Castle.
Sure. Oh
I
my
beat
god.
the first Lionel, and now I'm on the second Lionel, which is like the black and white one. I don't know, it's like a striped Lionel.
Wait. Pause. With no Master Sword, no Hylian Shield, like the clothes that don't fit you that come in the Shrine of Resurrection.
No.
That is insane.
Yeah, I think the clothes I'm wearing right now, I have the shirt that you get from the old man for cooking the meal to get the paraglider. So
well, at least your shirt fits.
Yeah.
Me with the full stamina wheel, like 1,000,000 hearts, Master Sword, Hylian Shield. I don't think I could handle a Lionel. That is crazy. You're one kooky guy. I will say that for sure. You think you're ready for Ganon?
I don't know what to expect. I've never played the game before.
Oh, wow. And that doesn't sound very confident, Jude. I mean, if you were able to walk into Hyrule Castle with a stick and a potlet, I'm sure you have to have more confidence than that.
I never said I got it on one life. The first Lionel took me 3 hours. The trial strength took me like 4. The second Lionel I haven't beat yet.
You're so real for that, though. I admire your tenacity, that's for sure. And you all are just gonna have to subscribe to see eventually, I'm sure, when you defeat Ganon with a potlet and a stick. I'm assuming it's not actually a potlet and a stick, unless it is.
It broke my pot lid, and I no longer have a stick. So now I have.
Crazy. I was saying like figurative pot lid and stick. I didn't think you actually. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I started out with a pot lid, and then that pot lid broke to Guardian, and then I used the one of the really bad wood shields you get from the goblins or whatever.
Sure.
And I got that, but now I've got Royal Guard weapons, and I've got the Trial Strength ancient weapons and stuff.
So then I just have to know, when are you planning on streaming Breath of the Wild next? So we can all tune in, right?
Yeah, I don't actually know. I'm trying to figure that out. I have so many game series and stuff that I've got a busy week. I've got like so many things that I'm trying to plan. Right. So as far as when I'll be able to play it again, I don't know. It might not even be this month. We'll have to see.
Oh my gosh.
But
then I guess, like I said, you all are just gonna have to subscribe and turn on those notifications then, so you can find out. Gosh, but I guess this also begs the question then, when you finish Breath of the Wild, do you have any plans on playing Tears of the Kingdom?
Absolutely.
Yay!
I think the only Legend of Zelda games I haven't played are Tears of the Kingdom, Skyward Sword. I mean, I haven't finished Breath of the Wild. I want to finish Majora's Mask too, because I still haven't beat that. And then, recently, I think 2 years ago, they remade A Link to the Past, I think. The one that he's on an island. I don't know.
Right.
It was for the Switch.
Yeah.
So I haven't finished that, but I finished all the other ones. I finished Link's Awakening. They redid that one. But I'm pretty sure every single other one. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
I even did the crossbow training.
You have to like tell me when you're doing it so that I can experience it again. It was I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's such an emotional experience.
I'm so excited. That's one of the things that, that's one of the things I was just in awe of, is that playing Breath of the Wild, even though it's my first time playing, not the CDI games, those don't exist. Absolutely not. Like playing Breath of the Wild for the first time as a Zelda fan, even though it's been out for so long and stuff, and seeing other people play it, that first moment coming out of the Cave of Resurrection and just seeing the 3D world around you, that you can explore every crevice, every space you want, it was just breathtaking. I was like, oh my God, this is like my childhood dreams come true.
Wow! Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Oh my goodness. Well, I look forward to that. I absolutely cannot wait for that moment. But it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know more about your favorite games, your history with FPS coaching. But I think I want to learn more about, I guess, your knowledge in making things, I guess, in terms of computer science and similarly, I guess, Minecraft. I guess that you could consider Minecraft Redstone a similar topic, but we're going to go ahead and switch gears, I guess. Thank you so much for sharing what it's like being, the gamer that you are, the pirate gamer that you are.
Of course.
Why don't we go ahead and hop into a new topic then?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Oh, the things that you can make. Now, I actually didn't know too much about this, so it was really fascinating, like kind of thinking about what sort of questions I wanted to ask you when you told me about it. But in this section, we're going to talk a little bit about your knowledge when it comes to, one, computer science, right? I guess in that way you're kind of creating things, but also Minecraft Redstone. That was like a whole separate topic that you talked about. And as someone who plays Minecraft, I'm very interested to learn more about that. But we'll hop into this first subtopic, if you will. So,
sounds good.
Computer science, coding, I guess. what do you like about computer science? What interests you about it?
I think the availability to really make anything you want as long as you put your mind to it is like super cool. I'm not super skilled as far as coding goes. I know several different languages,
Cool.
but as far as like my skills go, I definitely know people that are very, very good as compared to myself.
But you don't need to be good at something to appreciate that. But I totally understand. It feels like, the world is your making, right? You can make whatever you
For
want.
sure.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
So I actually got into it in the middle school I went to. I went to the middle school for pirates, right? And somehow they
Right.
had computers. I don't know.
It
But
pays off to be
anyhow,
a well-rounded pirate, I think.
yeah. So in middle school, when I first came to that school,
Mhm.
they were piloting an IT program or like computer science program for the first time.
Wow.
And as a kid who really enjoyed computers and had limited access to it growing up,
Mhm.
I was like, absolutely, I would love to do all this IT stuff and
Right.
learn about computers. And so it was really cool, the class, it was because we were a piloted program. They brought us through the entire like how many years, 3 years of
Yeah.
school? Something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
The entire like 3 years of middle school. And so it was really cool because we got to learn how to like program websites and
Wow.
program like our own applications with like Java and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As well as some other things like we got Microsoft certified for like
Whoa!
Excel
I love
and Docs and
spreadsheets.
stuff. I do not remember anything about spreadsheets. Spreadsheets is my friend when it comes to physics projects and my enemy when it comes to everything else. So
Wow.
yeah, so I got to do all of that, as well as get like Adobe certifications in like Photoshop
Whoa.
and Premiere and all those
Hey,
different
that's
things.
so cool. That's so nifty.
Yeah, and another thing that I got to learn about while in that class was how to make actual tech people hate you.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
So as this is in middle school, I think the average age of kids in that class were probably around like what 12,
Yeah.
11 to like I think the oldest was probably 15 or 14 at the time. Well, these IT administrators, because they were obviously just listening to whatever the district that we were in like wanted to do with the class,
Sure.
they had the bright idea to give us full access to their network
Oh,
with administrator accounts to
Oh.
children.
no.
So they learned the hard way that was a bad idea.
Oh.
And I can neither confirm nor deny that that we became very, very fun and enjoyable kids to have around.
Oh, wow.
Now, obviously, piracy online is bad, and we do not
Sure.
condone it.
This is a
But as
different kind of being a
pirate-
pirate. Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's a different type of being a pirate.
Right.
But as a pirate myself, I'm not limited to that. So I absolutely pirated stuff as a kid.
You didn't know any better. You didn't know any better.
No, I did not. We were sitting there and we were like, why should we be doing Excel homework when we could be playing like games like Minecraft? For example, we played a lot of Minecraft in that class,
Wow.
or we could be playing games like Fallout or Far Cry. We played Far Cry 2. So we literally on these school computers in the school class would hook up and make our own Far Cry LAN network servers to play
Whoa.
Far Cry 2 against each other, and like at multiplayer and stuff like that.
I mean, you had like the admin access, so.
Well, yeah, exactly. We
full
were able to do
access.
any. I mean, there are some kids who got really devious and were able to like get into like teachers'
Oh.
accounts
Oh,
and stuff and like change their grades and.
But you were a
I was
good
not one of those
pirate.
kids.
You were a
No.
good pirate.
Yeah, I was a good pirate. We also played like Halo, like the original Halo, and a bunch of different things like that. So it was really fun. I mean, we got a little mischievous.
Oh
So
my god.
it definitely opened my eyes to the possibility of IT at a young age, as well as like the sort of education direction that I wanted to go into.
Right. Oh my
Because
god.
that class was really enjoyable, and being able to not only see the fallout of our actions, but also see how we can put our actions to use made it a
Good
lot of
use.
fun.
Right.
We
my
eventually, by the way, from that single action, we convinced our entire district that Minecraft would Minecraft the education version. It was like Minecraft EDU
Oh,
was
wow.
a viable purchase for the better education
I
of
think so.
students,
I
and
think
so yeah, they purchased like a license for it and everything. And then we still ended up using the pirated version.
Yeah, no, but still, I think making that attempt to like get it actually that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome because I'm sure there's like a Minecraft to engineer pipeline. I'm sure that exists, right? Has to be.
I know. I actually, so fun fact, I actually
Oh.
know somebody who did that pipeline.
No way.
So
I was right.
you were, yeah, it's a real thing. So back at the same time when we were doing all these things with Minecraft, one of the
Yeah.
cool things that they allowed us to do, because they saw how much of us liked Minecraft, they said, okay, if you guys want to play Minecraft, but the projects we have for you is that your project is to create a modded version of Minecraft using your own code and implementing your own items and stuff
Oh,
into the game
sure.
to like be able to change the way the game is played.
Right.
So people are doing all sorts of things and coding their own things. I personally made myself the watermelon bomb. So I coded a block that was similar to TNT to like explode on contact with a player that was just a watermelon. So if you accidentally walked up, it was just like a bomb. But like the explosion radius was really big and stuff.
Oh,
It was really fun.
I need to try that. I've only ever like
yeah.
modded swords and like modded shields, but I've never thought of making like something silly and ridiculous like that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, making your own is really interesting, and I mean it's really accessible. Anybody can do it. If you boot up like the program we used was called Eclipse. Eclipse is a free coding IDE, which is like something that anybody can use. And so, we all booted up Eclipse on our computers, downloaded the proper Java files that we needed, and looked some YouTube tutorials up and started coding.
Yeah.
At the same time, because I was so interested in it, I decided to host my own Minecraft server and stuff. And I met a lot of really cool people during that time. One of those people actually ended up making a bunch of the coded plugins for this Minecraft server. We had like a bunch of customly coded like capture the flag plugins and a bunch of different things like that. One of the things that he did is he did all this coding. And so out of the gate, once he graduated, he ended up getting a job as a server administrator doing coding. Straight out of high school, by the way. He didn't go to college or anything. He just straight out of high school.
That's awesome.
And then one of the deals that he got with the company, and I think it fell through because the company that he worked for ended up being kind of shady with the way they did paperwork and stuff. But at a time, he had a $1.2 billion deal with Shell Oil Company to install servers across the world for them. So that's pretty cool.
That's big.
Yeah, that's big.
Oh my god. There you go. Tell everyone that Minecraft is educational. That you need to put that like on a promotional, like a poster. My gosh. Minecraft.
It all is how you look at it. If you have the right inspirations and a drive to learn, Minecraft's a great place to start.
And speaking of Minecraft, I'd love to dive more into your expertise and your knowledge in Minecraft, and specifically you outlined Minecraft Redstone. So I'm gonna skip a little bit more further towards that. For those who aren't familiar with Minecraft, and what Redstone is in Minecraft, why don't you give us a quick little explanation of what it is and what sorts of things you can do and what you've made with Redstone?
Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and start from the most simplistic answer as far as what Minecraft Redstone is. And so basically Minecraft Redstone is a power circuit, right?
Yeah.
Just like we have electricity in the real world, Minecraft has an alternative form called redstone. And so you can find it underground and stuff and mine it. And once you use it and power it with like a lever, it's very simplistic. You lay down the redstone, and if it has a power source, it turns on. If it doesn't, it goes off.
Right.
Well, you can get really, really advanced with it by looking at redstone as almost similar to binary, with zeros and ones. You can make your own redstone logic and make these immaculate machines and stuff using all redstone.
Wow.
One of the things that I was more experienced in, aside from just redstone building in general, was command blocks. So Minecraft, and I believe 1.6 6? I
Not
want to say.
sure.
When did command blocks
Oh my god.
come out in Minecraft? I'm pretty sure it was 1.6. 1.4. I was 2 versions up.
Oh.
1.4. So yeah. So when you get into like 1.4, they added command blocks, which gave you a lot of access to a bunch of different commands that allowed you to create more versatile things within Minecraft itself. And so I enjoyed that a lot. I did a lot of different like redstone stuff, working with these command blocks, spawning in mobs that were like stacked on top of mobs, stacked on top of mobs. Because you had like a bunch of different. You can have it so that way if you have command blocks running in a sequence, you have it so that way if you walk in a certain radius of an item, that item will teleport you like 10,000 blocks in the air or something like that. Or you can have it so that way if you push a button, it teleports you to a different location, which is really good for things like adventure maps. Back in the day, I don't think they're very popular anymore, but there used to be a very fun series of maps that you could get online that were called adventure maps. And so adventure maps were these really cool, like fully customized worlds that people had built by themselves using redstone mechanics as well as command blocks, because they made it very easier to spawn in not only custom mobs, but also basically make an adventure mode in Minecraft. It made the game more of an RPG than it was an sandbox creative game.
Right.
So it was really fun. And so using that inspiration, I got really into it. And I started like making a bunch of different things with my friends and stuff.
Such as?
So one of the projects that one of my friends worked on is we made a fully functioning Super Smash Brothers Ultimate game mode that you could pick your own classes as far as what character you want to play. So you could become Bowser, or you could become Donkey Kong and stuff. And using the command blocks and stuff, it would teleport you into arena once you selected your character. And you had like different attacks that were items in your hands that would do different abilities and stuff. So it got really fun. We had some fun with it. It would give you like
that's crazy.
It would give you like sets of armor that made you like look like the characters and stuff. It was really fun.
Oh my gosh. If I have an idea, and I pitch it to you, would you be willing to like maybe help me? I was talking to Non about for the longest time about making like a PRISM Hunger Games like tournament where like we all divide. Okay, because I was thinking like in my head we would have like districts and everyone would pair up, and like, you know, obviously there's like the cornucopia and things like that, and there's like different areas of the map that are separated, but then there needs to be like some sort of like command center where people who are like emceeing the game or like hosting the game can like close off certain areas or like cause things to happen that will push people towards certain areas.
Towards the center.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that we could definitely figure out a way to do all of that. That's the one nice thing about redstone within Minecraft is that it is almost limitless in what you can do. I mean, using command blocks and redstone, people have made Minecraft in Minecraft, like a working version of Minecraft in Minecraft.
What?
There's some really cool YouTube videos on it.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. Wow. So you can look that up. Like people have made fully working computers on in Minecraft using like command blocks and redstone and that sort of thing. It gets crazy complicated, but it's super interesting.
Oh my gosh. Then I guess I have to beg the question then. Or this begs the question, do you have any plans to bring that sort of knowledge and excitement to maybe like the PRISM servers or the V server? Have you been on the PRISM server before?
I have not yet. I have plans to. I finally got access to a Minecraft account, so
I'd love to give you like a tour. We could like have a couple of people hop on for a tour.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let us know. You know, me, Iku, and Non have been like addicted to Minecraft as of late. So do let us know. I think this is kind of a secret, but we have a Minecraft endurance planned. We already have it in our Google Calendar. But maybe you can like hop in for that or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be awesome. I would totally enjoy doing that.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any other exciting things that you want to share about your love for Minecraft? Any stories? Maybe things you want to share, like tips or cool little like tricks?
Let me see if I can think of anything. So one of the fun rare things that you can do in Minecraft, and I think this is a pretty well-known fact. But if you strike a creeper with lightning, it becomes energized. Right. And basically that makes it have a bigger explosion radius, more damage, blah, blah, whatever. the cool thing about this is that if you get this creeper to explode on other mobs, it'll actually drop the head of that mob to you. So if it explodes on a zombie, it'll drop a zombie head. Or if it explodes on another creeper, it'll drop a creeper head. That's how you can get like cool decorative items in like vanilla Minecraft. But yeah, that's just a fun
A
thing.
fun little like Easter egg. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I feel like I learned something new about Minecraft every day.
There's a lot of Easter eggs. If you have you ever had a name tag before?
No, wait, yes? Like you can put it on like animals and stuff, right?
Yeah. So if you name animals in Minecraft or like any, you actually name any mob in Minecraft using a name tag as long as it has a name and an anvil and you right click on it. So the cool thing about name tags, for one, name tagged entities in Minecraft, such as mobs, will never despawn as long as they have a name tag. So even if they like have the chunk unloaded and stuff, as soon as it's reloaded, that entity's ID is saved there, and so it'll be there, whether it's a zombie, a villager, or whatever. So that makes it really easy and really convenient for Minecraft servers, because if you leave an area for too long or stay in an area for too long, the mobs can despawn.
You can
Another
keep a
fun fact
friend.
about it. Yeah, exactly. You get a friend. Another fun fact about it is that if you name these mobs after one of the a few of the developers from the game, they do special things to them.
Like what?
So if you name a Minecraft mob Dinnerbone, it'll actually turn that mob upside down. So they're walking with their feet and or they're walking with their head and their feet are in the air.
Isn't walking with your feet normal?
No. So it flips them upside down.
Wow.
There's a bunch of different Easter eggs that you can do with it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's very fun.
I'll have to search them up. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if you name a sheep Jeb, it's specifically to sheep because Jeb, was a developer that was in the direction, I believe, of the sheeps in the game, but basically, or like dying in the game. But basically, if you name a sheep Jeb underscore, the sheep will come rainbow and it'll constantly be changing colors. So it's like an RGB sheep.
I love the gamer sheep.
Yeah, gamer sheep. That one's really funny.
Oh my gosh.
There's a bunch of different things.
Well, I'm excited to see, where your Easter egg knowledge will come into play on the Minecraft like PRISM server. I can just imagine like walking into the PRISM server one day and there's just like a rainbow sheep. Like, oh, I know who did that. That had to have a calling card. So it's only sheep. Like you can't do it like on a parrot. You can't have like Unagi following you around.
Nope, unfortunately not. It's very specific things.
Oh well, that's too bad.
Yeah, there's even ones like if you name, I think it's a rabbit. If you name a rabbit Toast, it becomes a specific color code of a rabbit. Like the skin changes to a different type of rabbit, and that's in reference to one of the developers' rabbits that they had. So yeah, it's like there's just some random Easter eggs in the game like that.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so excited to see, these Easter eggs or even just your amazing builds in the PRISM server. So again, let me know whenever you plan on going into the server. I'd be more than happy to show you around. Maybe even get like, a nice little group. But
yeah,
gosh, thank you so much for not just sharing your knowledge about Minecraft and computer science, but also, your excitement about FPS games and just games in general. It's been an absolute pleasure, getting to know you more. You're an amazing co-hi, and I hope you've been having lots of fun on RKNGL Radio.
I have. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and we're not done yet. I know we're having lots of fun, so the fun isn't over just yet. We're gonna head over to the main room, kind of wrap things up, do some super chat reading, and if you all have any lingering questions, please do let us know. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the main segments of RKNGL Radio for today. So if you're heading out, I hope you have a wonderful rest or a wonderful rest of your day. Let's go off the air and hang out for a bit, shall we?
Yippee!
Yippee! I was telling Jude, I was like, we're like yippee twins because we're both the kind of people to say yippee really randomly. Oh my goodness! But
it's fun to say.
It really is. Gosh, one of the things, this is so random. While we're kind of waiting for questions to come in, and while I pull up the super chat reader, one of the topics that I get to put into the main, I guess, RKNGL Radio segments, I couldn't really figure out where to put it, was cosplay. Tell us give us a little, I guess, summary of your love for cosplay.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed cosplay for a long time. And I've cosplayed a couple of different really cool characters.
Wow.
The ones that I will say, because I've already said them before,
Sure.
I've cosplayed Vanilla from Nekopara.
Oh.
Which was really interesting because I
I'm not
even
familiar.
went out.
I'm not familiar with the character.
All right, let me go ahead and send you.
Yes, please, please. I'm not familiar.
Alrighty.
Why did somebody say "oh my" in chat? Oh my gosh.
Oh my. So, I believe they call Nekopara an eroge game.
Oh. But she's so pretty. Oh.
She is pretty. So yeah, she's a cat girl and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I would suggest looking up images with safe search on.
Okay. I see. Oh my god.
Anyhow, yeah. I went all out for that one. It was really fun. I actually got oh, what size foot do I have? It was like size 11.5 heels. I got high heels for it.
Well, they weren't stilettos or anything, right? They were pumps like this one, right?
No. Well, hold on, let me see.
Can't be that bad. It has a chunky heel. That shouldn't be too bad.
No, the ones that I had a thin heel. I'm pretty sure. I think
Why would you do that to yourself?
Right,
Oh
they're
my
the only ones that
gosh.
were the men's size 11s, and heels are hard to come by.
Sure, that makes sense.
So yeah, that that hurt my foot for a long time after. I was actually like limping for a month after because I did not have the idea. So I had these really cute stockings.
Right.
I actually got the stockings that normally come with the cosplay were just black. I went out on Amazon and I got stockings with cat ears and a little cat face on them.
Oh, fun.
Like a little cute one to pull up. So I didn't want to like ruin them. So I just wore the heels all day because I didn't have like an actual like shoe to wear with it. So I just wore the heel all day. And walking out around a convention hall for that long is pretty terrible.
I also have crazy cosplay heel stories. People who don't bring a pair of flats to flat out. Wow, I applaud you. But I remember I don't think I've ever told you all this, but I've cosplayed Madoka before. From like Madoka Magica, the pink haired girl.
Right, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and she has these beautiful.
So cool.
You're right. Oh my gosh. So this is when I was a little bit younger, and she has these beautiful red heels, and they're not anything crazy. They're like these like red kitten heels, right? But for me, when I like to put together a cosplay, I like to try to like thrift as much of it as possible. I do try to make stuff, but sometimes for things like shoes, right? For things like shoes that are harder to kind of like make from scratch, I go to like a secondhand store and I'll buy them. So I found a pair of red heels, and I didn't have to paint them or anything. Like they already came in red. But what I didn't, what I didn't realize is that when they were sent to Goodwill or wherever I bought them, somebody had spray painted them and sent them in. I didn't realize they didn't come as red. So keep that in mind, because I was walking around the convention center and I was like, my feet kind of hurt, as your feet do, right, when you're wearing heels. Let me just sit down, find a place to sit down in the convention center, take my shoes off, and then like massage my feet a little bit. I'm wearing white socks, right, because Madoka wears white. I take my heels off, and I just see red all over my white socks, and I'm just thinking, oh my god, I'm bleeding. I'm a foot injury. I immediately take my sock off, and there's nothing wrong, and I was like, wait a minute. What? And then I just thought, somebody spray painted it, and since it wasn't finished.
Oh my god, wow.
It rubbed up. I literally almost had like a heart attack. That was so crazy. But
oh my gosh. That is so funny. I've actually had a similar experience.
Really? Okay.
So as a gift, a friend of mine actually got me a pair of authentic light up Lightning McQueen Crocs.
This is for a different cosplay, right? Not for vanilla?
No, this is not even cosplay. This is just like they're Crocs.
Okay.
I'm looking at them across my room. So they are light up Lightning McQueen Crocs.
Sure.
Well,
that's beautiful.
because of their age, I was wearing socks in them. And I took the croc off, and the entire sock was just red.
Oh my gosh.
Just red.
You're like, no!
I was like, what happened? The socks, I've washed the socks too. I've washed them like 4 times. They're still red.
Oh my gosh.
They've just been stained. They're forever
McQueen.
Lightning McQueen socks.
Ka-chow. Oh my gosh. But oh my gosh, that is so incredibly fun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I love I love that cosplay can be as involved or as like not involved as you want it to be. Like some people, buy their costumes, and that's really cool, and you can just go to a convention and have fun with friends. But I love that there's also a huge like maker aspect to
it's
cosplay
crazy.
as well. I've seen some insane builds as well. Somebody said those exist. Those kinds of Crocs exist. Oh my gosh.
They do.
Somebody in chat says thoughts on is it how do you say it? Blaze Blue? How do you say it? Fighting games?
Blaze Blue Battlecross Tag. Oh my god. I think that's right. BB Tag? Yeah. BB Tag is fun. I'm terrible at it, but it's fun.
What do you like about it?
So it's another tag game where you play as multiple characters, but the cool part about this game is it actually is an cross tag battle. There we go.
What is that?
It has a bunch of like collaborations with a bunch of different like anime.
Okay.
So you can play as characters from like Ruby in it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's really fun. So.
Oh my gosh, I'll have to check it out then. I always think those are kind of silly. It's kind of like seeing like, Deku in Fortnite or something.
True.
Oh my gosh.
That is funny.
Somebody asked which FGC content creators or commentators do you tend to watch? What is FGC?
FGC is Fighting Game Community.
Oh, okay.
Oh gosh. I haven't watched a FGC stream in a long time. I was really big in like Smash. So I like watched a lot of like the Smash commentators. I don't think I could name anyone off the top of my head.
Oh.
I don't think I can be. Hold on, let me see.
Sure, it's kind of just like a cat. You have like a lot of your algorithm kind of just shows it to you, and you'll.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Yeah, take your time. I'll go ahead and then pull up my super chat here while you do that.
Awesome. Sounds good. Okay, so I've not actually played or I've not actually like talked to too many people or remember too many people from fighting games. The one fighting game person that I have met before at a convention and I didn't get to play against them, but I met Umisho, which is I think they're like the 2 or 3 times winner of Guilty Gear Strive at EVO.
Whoa.
So yeah, they're crazy.
Oh my gosh.
They're insane. I'm terrified. I watched them on stream before. Terrifying. Like I got to meet them in person, and I got to see them on stage, and they were so scary to watch.
In what way? Like in what way are they like scary or intimidating?
Like they aren't intimidating as a person.
Sure,
like they're like pretty chill person, but like watching them play is just like holy crap.
They get into like a flow state, right?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I mean, you look at them and they're just like this scrawny little guy, and then they get on stage and they just absolutely whoop everyone.
Don't judge a book by their cover, right?
No, exactly. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Maybe one day I'll meet some crazy awesome people like that. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. It says, thank you, by the way, Demon Warrior, for the dodo. Thanks for a great show. I definitely learned a great deal of fun things to try out. Thanks for expanding my gaming knowledge. I'll have to mirror that, because when you started talking about like, the mice and the DPI and the in-game sensitivity and the wrist style and the arm style, that was crazy. And I think we had a couple of questions from back then that I didn't get the chance to ask. Are you more like, I think I asked you this, you said you were more like arm style. Does your arm ever get tired, since you're more of like an arm style kind of person?
So one of the things that I have had happen a couple of times is I'll get like cramps. But that's only if so one of the bad things, so this is why I tell people when they watch me, I say don't replicate what I do.
Oh god.
When I shoot, I have something that's called hypertension. So basically I tense up really tight when I really focus.
Right.
And so when I'm like aiming, instead of like being really smooth and straight, it's very shaky and very rigid.
Oh, okay.
And so sometimes when I'm really in the zone and I'm like doing aim labs or something like that, my arm will cramp up so bad from doing that.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
It really is that like you kind of it's a full body experience, things like this. Like when you mentioned that, it kind of reminded me of how, so when I play viola, I used to have this really big problem of, I still kind of do to this day, if I'm reading sheet music instead of like, I don't know, like listening and stuff like that, if I'm looking at sheet music and it's like a 45-minute long, like, symphony, things like that, I forget to blink.
Forget to blink?
I forget to blink because I remember I found this out back when I used to play like a lot of music, I would wear glasses when I'm doing like symphonies and things like that. It's because you'll play you'll play like a whole thing and it's like 4 movements and it's a 45-minute piece and you have to play the whole thing. So I would wear glasses and I don't know, it was more comfortable just not having something in your eye. And then one time I was like, let me try wearing contacts. And I tried it. I was like, oh my gosh. End of the first movement, I was like, my eyes were so dry. And I wondered why. And I asked my director and he was like, you're not blinking. And that's very common apparently. It's very common to not blink when you're reading sheet music. And I was like, that's crazy. When you mentioned that, you kind of reminded me of that. So I don't know how do you, is there any way that you try to like be conscious of that and try to overcome that?
So as far as like the arm thing, I just like if I'm really in my zone and just really calm, like take deep breaths and that sort of thing. It gets better. So I try to do that. Keeping calm when you play really like high-paced games is one of the critical things to playing and performing well. A lot of people have these things what they call our triggers, where they'll have a trigger for their Zen state. That's what a lot of like really, really high professional players have, is that when they're trying to get into this Zen mode in order to clutch, they have something that they'll do. They'll think of something, or they'll maybe like pull on their hand a certain way or something like that. And after so much of doing it, you basically train your brain into like going into that like Zen state.
That's like an anime. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a real thing. People do it. It's crazy.
Do you have one?
No.
Do you want to find one? Like, do you want to find your thing?
I don't know. I think that
it's Bonkai, someone says. Oh
yeah, literally
God.
Bonkai. Actually, yeah, no. When I'm in the zone, like I'm fine. But that's the problem, is that when I'm in the zone, I don't talk. Like I'm just like silent, like playing the game. So like, or I mean, I do talk, but it's more like in-game comms. So like streaming with that gets really hard because I have to keep up with the chat and stuff.
Absolutely relatable.
So
absolutely relatable, because that's kind of like your focus mode, right? Because I have something similar where and Archangels, you already know what I'm going to talk about, but me normally, I'm an extrovert, right? So a lot of the things I explain and I talk a lot of stuff. Like I talk about what I'm thinking, I talk about what I'm feeling, and a lot of the processing that I do is external, and it's always going to be like that. But when I'm focused, you've seen My Hero Academia, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how like Deku, when he's like getting really into like writing stuff down about like heroes and stuff, he starts mumbling? That's me. I go from like that way that I'm talking to you right now, but then when I go into focus mode, I'm like, okay, looks like he's going like this, and he's moving like that, and it turns into this mumbling because I have to talk. That's just how I process things. But it becomes this like condensed mumble, and it becomes very pointed and very focused. And I feel like I get so self-conscious because I don't know how that is perceived on stream. Like, I don't know if it's boring or if it's like weird, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't know. I'm extroverted myself, so I really, really like talking a lot.
Oh my gosh.
But like, aside from that, I do the same thing. Like, let's say if I'm talking on the phone, it's really weird. Sitting down like this, I can talk for hours. I'm just fine. I'm chilling. But if I'm on the phone, I have to be pacing. I have to be walking around the house. I can't just be sitting still. So I feel like everybody has like their own like quips and things like that. I don't know what it is. I think it's just that like when I'm on the like a cell phone call versus like actual like Discord call or something like that, when you're on a phone call, it's usually more urgent, or it's like something where like you have to do something. And I'm just like so after done, like I've been doing it for so long that I just like get up, start pacing. I can't sit down. A phone call, I can't do it. So.
Yeah, and like everyone has their own, has their different modes, right? And I've definitely gotten into this mode before, like playing games or like collaborative things, but I do get very serious. People get very, like, whoa, like you've become very serious. But like if something needs to be done and like we need to get it like done in an efficient way, I'll go into like, gosh, what do I even call it? But like focus, I guess focus mode, but it's like Commander Kamishiro mode. Oh my gosh, but it's
director.
It's a director. Oh my gosh. But I'm glad, you kind of also have that experience of like separate mode that you have where
Oh, for sure.
we're gamers, of course. We have to
We're
have
gamers.
we have to have our gamer moments, right? Oh my gosh. Advent, thank you so much for celebrating 3 months as Idol Coach. Thanks so much for the stream. These streams are always so much fun to hear. You're always a stellar host, Rita. Thank you. And my respect for June has increased. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yippee!
Yippee! Oh my gosh. Kektor, thank you so much for the dodo. Speaking of my favorite 2D fighting game ever, I can't guarantee it's up your alley, but if you ever want to get into a 2D fighter game with a good story, we just talked about this, Blaze Blue, but not cross tag. What's the difference between like regular and cross tag?
I believe cross tag is it's a tag fighter. And I believe that Blaze Blue is not. No, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know actually.
I'll have to look
I'm
into
not
that.
entirely sure. I don't know what the difference is.
Well, I guess that's something we'll have to look up then.
Oh, Blaze Blue is 1v. Okay, so Blaze Blue is just 1v1. Yeah. So cross tag is just a tag version of the game.
I
Okay,
see.
wow. Whew.
Well,
There we
you
go. Cross tag is right. That's another fun thing about fighting games
Yeah.
is that all of them have very intricate stories. So if you see in chat people are saying, "Oh, it's not canon," that's very true. A lot of games and fighting games have like spin-off stories. So it's really interesting when you play a game because they'll have like a really solid story, and then another game will be like, "Well, this doesn't make sense." It's like, "Oh, that game's not in the canon."
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's it. That's interesting. I always forget that like things like fighting games like do have like story.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always just think of like going to an arcade and playing a fighting game. I always just think it's like a walk up and you play and you walk away kind of thing. But interesting to remember that. Maybe I'll have to. Maybe one day I'll check it out. Oh my gosh, Kektor, thank you so much for celebrating 18 months as Idol producer. When June is in the zone, he goes through the motions like a cool, well-oiled machine, almost automatically. He's not just in the zone; it's the auto zone. Oh my gosh! Would you say you get into the auto zone, June?
Yes, I do get into the auto zone.
I'm gonna have to find that. Do you have any clips of you being in the auto zone?
Let me see. Actually, I have a bunch of clips on my computer. So let me go.
Oh, do share. My
Let me
goodness.
go through.
Absolutely, please. And KF, thank you so much for celebrating your 12 months as Idol Coach. KF says thanks for the stream, Rita and June.
Oh,
really enjoyed
go.
listening in and learning cool stuff from and about you today.
of course.
Yeah,
There you go.
so
I
you
can
found
screen
it.
share this.
Oh yes, please.
Perfect. I'll go to full screen as well. So this was actually from yesterday.
Let me
so
see if I
the
can.
more
Let me see if I can show. Is it okay if I show everybody?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I
Okay,
don't
let
think
me
that
let me
there's
figure
anything...
out how to do this. You all will have to give me one moment. I gotta set it up on the projector.
Ah, yeah.
Whoa. Okay, pause. Let me get it prepared.
I'm just skimming.
Oh yeah, but you're like I have to find the best parts only. Let's see. Let me close that super chat reader, and then let me go ahead and get your gameplay, your epic gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and doom. Oh, perfect. There it is. And then show everybody. Make sure it's not cropped weirdly. Sometimes it does that when I'm not paying attention. Okay. Well, the way that it's cropped right now is fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. If every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs, right?
True.
Okay, there we go. Okay, whenever you're ready. There's not gonna be any audio, I don't think, so go right
Okay,
ahead.
yeah, no, that's fine. There's no
Oh, there is.
Oh, that's fine then. That's perfect. I mean, there's no like talking or anything. So this is from the other day, and I'm just gonna go ahead and skim through forward a little bit.
Yeah.
So you see, there's 5 people on my team, and then we go 30 seconds forward, and there's only one person, and it's me.
What?
So,
Oh my
so one
gosh.
of the biggest things about getting in a situation like this is when it's high stakes, you will really have to put yourself in that zone. And so
That's
making sure that
crazy.
you have to really, sort of imagine how the game goes and how like the process of the game will go. So for example, I left the 2 of them back at A site and they
Okay.
heard me run away.
Sure.
But in that situation, because there's only one of me, I have to choose which site I'm going to go to. So I chose to go to B site because they have to rotate.
Okay.
And if I were to re-hit A potentially, which means to go back to the same site I was at, it would have been the a sort of situation where they're already there, right? They didn't have to leave. They
Wow.
could have just waited for me. In this situation, all they have to do is wait for me to plant, and they know exactly where I am or the general vicinity of where I am.
And you're doing this like processing in like that, right? Like in your head?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. I feel like people, like when you were explaining it just now, I feel like people don't really get to understand how much you have to think and like process and strategy you have to make up in your head in just like a short span of time. So that's absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Here, I think I have another one.
Yeah,
too. Let me
please,
go
by
ahead
all
and-
means.
I will.
Close the window
see
for
if I
now.
can-
Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. That works. Let's see. I
So
think
you can
I got
you
another
can
one.
scrub and look for the best parts.
Yeah,
Let
exactly.
me also turn down the volume a little bit.
Okay,
Here we go. Let me know when you're ready.
I closed it out. All right, let me see if I can find it.
Sure.
pretty
We're kind
sure
of giving everyone quick little previews. And if you like what you see, go subscribe to June.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, here's another one. This is, I think, from the same match, I want to say.
Okay.
But it's another situation where I was put into a what we call in Valorant a 1vx.
Uh-huh.
So the idea behind a 1vx is that it's a one versus unknown amount. So it could be 5, it could be 3, it could be 2,
Uh-huh.
1. So in this situation, I was put into a 1v1.
Okay.
And at that point, it just becomes a brain game, right? It's almost like
Sure.
chess.
Wow. Okay.
You have to play your cards the right way and really identify what you can do.
Wait, hold on. Pause. I
in
don't
order
have the
to-
window up.
Oh,
One
pausing,
second.
pausing.
Okay, go.
You have to like identify what's the best spot to put yourself into.
Go.
So this situation, we know where the raise is on site, and so I'm able to get the trade. And in FPS games, a trade is what happens when one person kills enemy who has just recently killed your ally.
Okay. Whoa.
So it's called trading because it's basically like
Sure.
they kill one of your teammates, you kill the other one.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. So right here, what I did here is I walled off that part of the site, and that basically allows me to have a 1v1 hallway where they can only come from one spot.
Limit their movement so you know where they're gonna come from.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So they're spamming chat. That's so funny. So by limiting the movement, all I have to do is wait for them to walk around the corner, and I know
And then you're
exactly
just
where
right
they're going to
there.
come from.
Oh
Yep.
wow. Like
And then
you
I
were
play the
ready.
brain games, and then it's done.
That's crazy.
Yep. And in that spot, because I know where he is, because he's only in this one small little tiny hallway.
Right.
I'll go back like 10 seconds. When I hide behind the screen, he has to play a 50-50 whether I'm going to
You
swing
left
to the right or
sure.
left.
Wow.
So I just take the gamble. He's looking at the other side, and I swing out the same side I was originally at.
Sure. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that I'm sure, like not just aiming and movement, but I'm sure you have to have like a knowledge of like the map and like what your all the possibilities are. That's so crazy.
For sure.
Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh.
Yeah. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. I mean, for one, he could have taken a different approach, and when I put
Right.
the wall up, he could have broken it, and that would have made an interesting situation where I have to watch 2 different angles.
Wow.
He could have gone up into heaven, which would have been
Heaven?
interesting. Yeah. So if we look at the map, there's different callouts on parts of the map, but right here, the spot that I'm looking at right now, that area is called
the reader again. Or
A
let me
Heaven.
pull up the window. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So the spot here that I'm looking at right now is called
Yeah.
A Heaven. And so if you look at when I go and place the wall, see, I'm watching Heaven because I knew that they weren't into the right.
Oh, okay.
When I put the wall down, one of the things you'll notice is that you can actually see over the wall if you're in that A Heaven area.
Oh, what?
So here,
Yeah.
see
Okay.
if I get a good angle on it. So you see how that window is wide
yeah,
open.
yeah. Okay.
So in this position, I had to really take the chances and basically guess that he's not going up there, because he's already recently flashed in a close
Sure.
location. But the other thing is that because he's a defender, he has to find where the spike is planted, and he has to defuse it. And so my whole goal is just to basically prevent him from doing that.
That's crazy that like it's also like an issue of psychology too, like knowing what most people would do or like what people are thinking and like basing your strategy off of that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of individual thought that goes into it. And then there are other moments where there's no
Sure.
thought and it's just
There- exactly.
full shoot.
But you can rock any moment like that, right? I'm sure.
Yeah. Here, wait. I've got this one. This is one I posted on Twitter recently.
Sure.
Let me go and full screen it. There we go.
Yeah.
I posted this. This was just like a fun game that I was playing with.
Yeah.
But this is where I turned my brain off. I just full let my aim do everything for me.
Wow. Okay, let's see it. So somebody just jumped overhead. Oh! Oh, but wow! Wow! Oh my gosh! Ah! Wait, just like bada bing, bada boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep,
Wow!
bada bing, bada boom. No thinking, just doing.
That's what I call flow state.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. I'm telling you guys, you have to go subscribe to June. If today wasn't enough, you gotta go check it out yourself. This is crazy, and because this is only just a taste of June's amazing skill. So be sure to click that subscribe button and all that. But June, thank you so much for being here on Archangel Radio today. I hope you had lots of fun. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and the Archangels. And thanks again, I guess. Wow, I learned so much today.
I'm so glad. Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a great time being able to talk with all of you about not only my interests, but just, who I am in general. So
yeah, and like I said, I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record. You have to go, as with any Archangel Radio episode, right? This is just a taste of who these amazing people are. Please go check them out. Please go show them your love and support. And before we wrap up for the day, do you have any last minute notices? Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess I can repeat what I said earlier. Yeah, so I'm having my monetization celebration sometime next week. We'll make an announcement about it probably on Monday. So.
Sounds good. And a huge shout out, yes, to all of the wonderful people who, helped you reach this amazing milestone. So go hang out with June, go become a June mate. It's lots of fun. Yippee! And a huge shout out again to first of all, thank you, Envy, for the super chat. A huge shout out to today's sponsors, Envy, Kektor, and Demon Warrior, and viewers like you. Thank you. And as always, I'm the idol to give you the wings to fly, Cyber Angel Rita Kamishiro at your service. And we're going to be raiding into Emma's birthday stream, so be sure to stick around. Show Emma your love and support because it's a very big day. We'll see you there. Bye! Yippee!